you might need a big-time quarterback competition next season. We're going to discuss that, plus the gains that the Sooners made in the offseason program. We'll discuss coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks again for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. So, Jay, a lot of gains were made in the trenches, but really in a lot of places in the offseason program, guys made weight. So what were kind of some of your takeaways when you saw the list from guys like George Stoya and Josh Callaway and all that?
Yeah, so first off, I'll say this. As I mentioned in the last segment, one reason why I think it's probably best to grab another quarterback, I didn't realize that Jet New was only 5'10", 170 pounds. His recruiting profile.
He plays taller, right?
He does. His recruiting profile says 6'1.5". But when I saw that, I was like, wait, he's 5'11"? I was like, no, but I think that he is talented. He's got really, I like his throwing motion. I like the way that he plays at quarterback, but you're probably going to need some additional quarterbacks unless Jet's out there just dropping dimes like crazy. But you're going to need some additional guys, need some size, additional size to go with you there in the SEC. But no, we're looking at the trenches, man. We got some big boys in the on the defensive line. PJ Adebaware jumped up to 261 pounds at the last weigh-in, with David Stone over 300 at 313 pounds, John. He's done got to the big boy status that we said that we've been needing. As long as he keeps his athleticism, I think he'll be fine. Another one that really jumped out to me too is, Trent Wilson is ranked. I think they said he's about 294 on the roster. But when he went through his freshman interviews on Wednesday, when the media was able to, interview with, Mateer and Nagy, as well as with Brent Venables, they also got to talk to all the newcomers. They talked to the transfers and they talked to the freshmen. And Trent said that he's over 300 pounds now. So he's on the roster at 294, but he's over 300 pounds. So you got yourself a nice list of big dudes that are over 300 pounds on the defensive line. I think that gets you two guys over 310. Three guys over 310, which is Stone, Jaden Jackson, and Dominic Williams, who's at 320 pounds. And then you've got a lot more dudes over 300 pounds at D tackle spot. So we finally got the size that we've been hoping for, John, and that got your boy pretty excited.
Yeah, and at wide receiver, like Javonte Gibson comes in at 6'2", 216. Like, that's really, like, he's not a rail. He's got some good height to him, but he's also physically stout and he's going to be able to go up against bump and run coverage and be able to beat that and be more competitive at the catch point. I think JJ Hester was under 200 pounds at like 6'5", 6'6". So yep. He's got a better frame for playing the position. Also, Manny Choice coming in at 6'4" and 212 pounds himself. That dude's a monster. The other one that stood out was Kendall Daniels, 6'5", 239 at linebacker. Potentially a
6'5",
239 as a cheetah. That dude's going to be a force, man. I don't know if we're talking quite enough about how important that addition is going to be in 2025.
You know who else put on some good weight too? Nigel Smith, 279 pounds. He's right there at that good 3 technique range, between 3 technique and, a little bit of a 4. Oh, yeah, he's going to be a threat. And I'm really excited to see what Nigel's able to put together this coming season. Daniel Collier is at 250, as we expected, 6'3", 250. Yeah, great for him. He's bigger than R. Mason Thomas, which still surprises me. I didn't think that he would be bigger than R. Mason. So Trench has got some bigness. Offensive line, Jacob Sexton's up to 333. So he's put on about 11 pounds. Whew. We've got some beef that we've been saying that we've been needing, right? Yeah. The biggest concern about Oklahoma is like, they don't have the trenches. They don't have guys that are big enough. I'm going to go through every SEC school and look at their rosters, and we're going to look at all their big men, and we're going to calculate how many big dudes they have. And I'm telling you, I think Oklahoma's right there in the middle, right in the thick of things for the SEC.
Yeah, Jaren Kanak, 6'2", 230. Could potentially be your starting tight end. Like, I'm not going to sit here and project that just yet. I want to see how he performs in spring ball. Somebody had a highlight of him dropping a pass in drills yesterday. I mean, it was, just like a short pass. I think they were working on like blocking and releasing, just in a short curl or whatever. But the dude's a natural athlete. He's a natural offensive skill player. He's got the ability to do it. Now, can he make the transition quickly enough to be an impactful player this season? I'm not going to doubt it.
Mm-mm.
And you don't really have a definitive answer at tight end. So I'm not going to sleep on the potential that he could start for Oklahoma in 2025.
Me either. There's no reason to even sleep on that. Like he has some good opportunity there. You had Devon Mitchell. He's at 275 now. That's a big boy. And he still looks pretty fluid in his move. Yeah. He still looks like he's athletic enough. Like, I mean, I know he was an athletic freak, and he came in as a senior in high school, 17-year-old. We don't talk much about him being 17 like everybody else talks about others that are 17. But we did make mention and realize that he's young, and he was still trying to adjust to the college life, and he's put on some good weight, getting some good size on him. And now I'm ready to see if he's still as fluid as he should be at tight end. So him and Jared Cannon could give you something, especially with Kay McIntyre being out or being limited here in the spring. I think that those two have an opportunity to jump up the depth chart and play for Joe Jon Finley. So we got to see what that looks like. But Ben Arbuckle's offense too. Watching some of the film from the reporters getting the credentialed media getting the opportunity to go out there and watch them practice, kind of warmed your boy's heart. We're here, John. We're at spring practice finally.
Yeah, another tight end. Trine Washington already coming in with really good size at 233 pounds. I think that was mine and a lot of people's concern. 6'4", 233. Like he's got the tight end frame. He's already there as a true freshman in 3 months with Oklahoma. So that's huge, man. Because he's making that transition from wide receiver to tight end, you wanted to make sure that he was going to be able to add the weight, and he's already doing it. He's already gotten himself in position to make an impact at tight end. How long it takes him to break into the lineup and get some snaps, we'll see, but already has a really good body on him. And then Marvin Jones Jr., 6'5", 255, another monster. And then as if Xavier Robinson needed to add any more weight behind his intense Ramondre Stevenson style, Derrick Henry style frame, 6 foot 235, even more of a wrecking ball for 2025.
That's what we all wanted. Tristan Haynes coming in a true freshman, 6'1", 173. It's a pretty solid frame and size for a true freshman coming in playing corner. All you got to do is put on a little bit more weight, and I think that he's going to be a massive threat. Cortland Guillory, 6 foot 182. I'm really excited about the young secondary coming in this year. And John Mateer, he's sitting here at 6'1", 224 pounds, just as advertised. Reggie Pearson III. Reggie Powers III. My apologies. We all excited about Reggie Powers and what he's going to be able to do. 5'11", 213. Mm-hmm. I know they've been trying to keep him just under 220, make sure he doesn't lose his speed because he's got all the strength in the world. Oh, man, he's going to be hitting some folks. He's going to be hitting some folks hard.
Yeah, and then Michael Boganowski actually weighs less than him. He's 6'2", but comes in a few pounds under Reggie Powers III, who, from everything we've heard, both those guys have had great offseason programs, just throwing up all kinds of weight right now and putting together some really good offseasons so far as they look to solidify some roles in spring ball. But ultimately, like Oklahoma in the trenches, they're bigger. They're going to be stronger, and at the same time, keeping a lot of the speed and the quickness that they have, especially in guys like Grayson Halton and David Stone. The fact that they were able to get David Stone up to 313, I think that really signifies that he's about to have a breakout season for Oklahoma.
So who do you think was the biggest offensive lineman in size? I mean, it looked like size.
Oh, I think I saw this. It was Owen Hollenbeck, right?
By 3 pounds. Darius Afalava was right behind him, 6'4", 345 pounds. Owen Hollenbeck, 6'3", 348 pounds. So you got some big boys who we know can move. Owen's more of a center, and you can tell because he's a wrestler.
Yeah, and he's an athlete.
He's an athlete. He can play. So I think we're going to be fine long-term in the trenches. Even Jacob Henry, He comes in at, what's that, 200, and I have it here, 281 pounds to start as a true freshman. And he's supposedly strong like his dad. So you may got yourself another D tackle that's ready to go out there and produce something.
Yeah. I'll be really intrigued by his progression. After, kind of not getting very heavily recruited to play football and then landing at a P4 school to wrestle and then making the transition to football. We'll see. But he's already got the strength. He's already got the movement ability. He's an athlete. You can't be one without being a wrestler. And wrestlers are some of the most athletic and physically conditioned people in the world. No matter what level you're at, they're just those kind of athletes. So, he's going to come in prepared to compete. Now, where his technique's at, what he's able to do against guys that have been playing offensive line the last year, we'll see. But I'm intrigued by that one. So a lot of intriguing moves up the scale for a lot of Sooners. And I think it's going to have an impact as they get especially bigger in the trenches. We saw how impactful it was for the defensive line last year as they continue to grow and grow and grow. Now it's for the offensive line's turn to make a significant impact in 2025. And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you're a part of the show, subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Go check out his channel, Unfair Sports, over on YouTube. You can follow me at John9Williams. You can also read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. The show is at Locked On Sooners on all of your favorite social media platforms. So go hit us up. Give us a follow over there as well. But until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. We'll talk to you then. Boomer
Sooner. We got some big boys, John. We got some big boys.
Didn't even talk about John Mateer's dime to Giovanni Gibson.